Hi and welcome to this reading. Today's reading is about a message that I have been getting over the past few days, and it's taken me just a little while to actually work out what is coming through and whether it is predictive, as in something about to happen, or whether it is a metaphor for something else. So if you haven't been here before, please like, share and subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive reader. I receive messages prior to the reading through downloads, through meditation, through songs, sometimes through movies or documentaries that I'm watching. I piece together that information and then I use my cards to clarify the messages that I'm receiving. I am also an illustrator, so the cards that you see me use on this channel are all my own, and if you are interested in any of them, they can be found in the links in the description box. So a few days ago, and a fly just nearly flew into my candle. Interesting. A few days ago, I was getting the message about a heavy weight, and the image I was getting was cars, a bunch of cars on a road, and then the road literally collapsed underneath them. Now, this was after obviously that horrific accident that happened with the bridge in the US. So I wasn't getting a bridge. I was actually getting a whole heap of cars all backed up on a highway or a freeway or a motorway, depending on where you live, what you call it. A whole heap of cars almost parked because they couldn't move anywhere on a road, and then the ground just falling out underneath. And I was getting that image of literally just things falling into an abyss. And I didn't think much about it, but it kept coming up. It kept repeating. And when things repeat, I know that there is a message that I need to unravel in there. Now, what confirmed that message to me was randomly in my YouTube feed, I started getting videos of counties in the US who have issued emergency declarations for the time when the eclipse is in America, because they're just expecting so many people to come into the area which is the path of the eclipse. And I did a bit of research just before I did this reading. In Arkansas alone, they're expecting between 300,000 and 1 million extra people in Arkansas for the eclipse. So you imagine, if you're looking at, say, a family of people, 3 or 4 people in a car, 1 million people, you're looking at an extra 250,000 cars on the road. Now, when I start to receive these messages, I don't talk about it, because if I start to talk about it, then I start to get things popping up on my phone, because obviously yeah. And so these messages were coming through before I'd verbalized any of this to anybody. And I thought, okay, I'm getting these messages through, and I just literally park them. Like, these cars were parked on this freeway. I park these thoughts and I wait until I get enough. And then yesterday, my daughter, who also picks up on this sort of stuff, she came to me and showed me a video on Instagram that she had seen, and it was a lady in China walking in a shop, and the floor just fell out underneath her feet in the shop, which was exactly the same sort of thing that I was picking up on, but mine was with cars. So last night I decided that I would just do some meditation on it. Sorry, that was my dog barking at something at the door. He is our alert in this house. Okay, so what I was saying was, last night I was actually shuffling some of my other decks. That I've got so many tarot decks, and I was shuffling some of the ones that I haven't used in a long, long time. And I was just deep in thought about what this message actually meant. Now, one of the decks that I was using, I will show you. Now, these aren't my decks, but I was thinking about this message of cars literally falling into an abyss. And as I was shuffling, two cards popped out. The first one was this one, which is Earth Pulsing. And then the second one is Weight of the World. And it got me thinking, if you've got 1 million people coming into, for example, Arkansas, and you've got 4 people in each car, 250,000 more cars on the road in Arkansas than normal, all at one particular time. Like it's, they're all coming for one event. And if you think, each car weighs 2,000 kilos or, 1.5 tons, and I did some maths, that's 375,000 tons of vehicles on the road, or 500 million kilos of vehicles on the road. The other image that I was getting was too many kids on a trampoline, and the skin of the trampoline tears. A couple of years ago in the city where I live, there was a function that a family had prior to a graduation ceremony, and they had a big, like a deck, like a patio on the back of their house, and they had 150 people, massive big patio, so they could fit 150 people on it, but structurally it wasn't engineered for that many people. Now, who does the math? I mean, you don't really think, oh, I'm going to have 150 people, but and the whole patio, the whole deck fell apart, and multiple people died. I was seeing an image of, well, I was actually hearing skating on thin ice when you have too much weight on the ice and it cracks through. So the fact that I got, earth pulsing, which is kind of what happens as things are about to crack, and then weight of the world. I did a random shuffle on my playlist after I shuffled these cards, just to see if there was anything else that I could pick up on. And I got a song called Beautiful by a band called Crush. Now, obviously, that's a romantic song, but what stuck out to me was that word crush. And the other song that was coming through really heavily was I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball. And that's Miley Cyrus. Now, that's a breakup song, but it's about something that is destroyed. So take this reading as it resonates. I'm really unsure if it is a message about something physical that is going to happen, or whether it is, the sun's coming out, so something physical that's going to happen, as in something within the world, some natural disaster that's going to happen. And I have picked up on earthquakes. If you want to go back to my Mother Mary reading, I'm picking up on earthquakes heavily in that. Now, if the earthquake card comes out, it is the Fool, because the Fool is connected to Uranus, and Uranus is earthquakes. On the 21st, I think it is, of April, is Jupiter and Uranus conjunction, and that conjunction is known for earthquakes because Jupiter expands. So when the Earth's crust expands, same with volcanoes. So if the Fool card comes out, but what I was saying before, I don't know whether this reading is a message, an alert, like my dog barking because he thought somebody was at the door, and like those county warnings that have been coming through. I don't know if it's an alert for some sort of natural disaster that's going to happen, or whether it is something in your life where literally the earth has been pulled out from under your feet. Let me just fix these cards. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, first of all, we've got the star. Now, the star is Aquarius. We are currently in the transit of Pluto in Aquarius. That's 17. So that number might be relevant. And we've got the Ace of Swords here. So that is a truth. The Ace of Swords is Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. But the Pluto and Aquarius transit, which is what we are currently in and what we are in for the next 20 years, is a transit that happens every 250 years. So every 250 years, Pluto is in Aquarius, and each time it happens, specifically in the sign of Aquarius, we see major revolution. I will put this reading in the Pluto and Aquarius playlist as well, but 250 years ago, we saw the American Revolution. So it's a time of massive change. Pluto is massive change. So we saw the American Revolution. We also saw the French Revolution. Now, the French Revolution happened because, and I've mentioned this many times, but the French Revolution happened because the King and Queen of France were living a lavish lifestyle and the people were in poverty. And France was actually sending money to America to fund the American Revolution. And there was nothing left to feed the French people. And then essentially God stepped in, and a volcano called Laki, Laki, which means fortune, a volcano erupted in Iceland and sent a ash cloud across Europe for 8 months, which destroyed all of the farm crops. So then the people were really starving. And that's when they stormed the Bastille and cut the heads off the king and queen, so Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, and that was the French Revolution. And the interesting thing is that the last 7 years there's been 3 solar eclipses in America that have directly crossed America. And I've said this many times, if you've watched my readings, it makes the sign of an A, which in Old Hebrew is El, or God. So God is making a mark on America. But it also makes the sign of an A, which also means the beginning, but where it's crossing this time makes an X, and that X in Hebrew is the end, so the beginning and the end. And the images that I was getting were in relation to all of these cars that are on the road going into this solar eclipse, when people are traveling to that band across America to see this solar eclipse. And the star is a destined event. And interestingly, the previous solar eclipse, so as I said, they've had 3 in America. The previous solar eclipse, I had heard, or I'd watched a video where it actually entered America was where the start of the American Revolution, no, where the end of the American Revolution was, and where it exited America was where the start of the American Revolution was. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what else we get. Ace of Cups. I'm hearing set my people free. So we've got 2 aces here. Aces are a gift from God. In this particular deck, this is my Lovebirds Tarot deck. The story of these cards is of young lovers who are forbidden to be together. Now, I know this isn't a love reading, but forbidden to be together, and they decide to run away. They decide to escape to their freedom, knowing that they may lose their life. And in doing so, God turns them into a pair of birds so they can escape and fly free. Mm. We've got the Ten of Pentacles. And the Queen of Swords. Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is Mercury in Virgo. Everything that you love in one car, going to see this beautiful solar eclipse. You know, and here she is looking up at the star. Maybe this Queen of Pentacles here, you know, she's begging. She's telling her truth. She's begging. She's saying, please, I've got a funny feeling that this isn't the right thing to do. And in some way, this is these counties that are putting out these emergency warnings, just letting people know that, I mean, they've been told to, I think, the state of Arkansas or the state of Texas. They've got like 90% occupancy rate in every hotel in the whole state. You know, people people worry that there's going to be a shortage of fuel, a shortage of food. You know, they've some of these little towns have never had that many people in them before. And what is that going to bring? And that's why all of these counties are issuing, emergency declarations, almost in a way begging people not to come. And people are coming with everybody that they love in their car, husband, wife, and kids. Queen of Pentacles on the bottom. And if this, oh goodness, illumination. If this isn't, now that's the solar eclipse, the sun. If this isn't a reading about some horrendous natural disaster, and this is about perhaps you walking away to independence because you've been illuminated by something, perhaps the rug's been pulled out from under your feet, you've been illuminated by something which has caused you to leave. Maybe you've left a family, which then allows for you to have freedom. What have we got here? Ten of Wands. Freedom after heartache. That original card, the weight of the world. And I said it. If we get the Fool is Uranus. Uranus is earthquakes. Now that eclipse, and I've said it before in other readings, that eclipse falls right over the San Madrid fault line. The San Madrid fault line, I think I read, was 600 times greater than the San Andreas fault line. The Fool is a new beginning. Yeah, that's kind of scary. And interestingly, yesterday I had to go out with my daughter and it was on the other side of the city and it was peak hour. So we decided to come back via the tunnel. And most big cities have got them, tunnels that they make highways, freeways that actually go in underneath. Well, this particular one where I live goes in underneath the river that runs right through our city. And so, you can see when you're going down, 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 and then you sort of come out the other side. And we were talking about the signs that I had been getting and the one that she had sent through to me about, the the floor falling out and this woman being sucked down into the abyss in this shop. And I tell you what, I you can't speed in the tunnels. There's so many speed cameras in there. So, but I just wanted to get out of there. It was that thought of, oh my goodness, what would happen if something fell from above us, or if we went, the cars inside that tunnel actually went from underneath. There is a Sylvester Stallone movie about that actually. Is it Daybreak? There might be messages in that. Mm. Okay, now we've just lost the sun again. Hopefully you can see the cards. King of Wands. The only thing I'm drawn to on this card is this little animal. And I was watching a documentary about the earthquake that was in Turkey a couple of years ago. I think it was when COVID was on. And all of the people were saying that the animals were acting weird the day before. All the birds were acting weird, almost like they were picking up on that vibration of something about to happen. This Fool card, this Uranus, this earthquake, something about to happen. And there is a reader that I watch, and he always calls the King of Wands Fakey McFakeman. All the gear and no idea. This image of people sensing that maybe putting all your kids in a car and going to these areas where there are huge amounts of people is not a great idea, but ignoring your intuition and just going anyway. It'll be fine, it'll be fine. You know, go back to this card here, we could see that as, maybe a mother picking up, I've got this funny feeling, should we really go? Is seeing is seeing a solar eclipse that important, you know? Picking up on the signs that the animals around you are giving. And that, if we're talking about, moving away from a relationship or a piece of information coming into you that literally takes the floor out from under your feet, were you getting signs beforehand from, I mean, I know my dog, if somebody comes to the door and he doesn't like them, you can tell he is switched on. Most pets are. They read the energy. The Hermit, number 9. They see what's going on underneath the surface. And their little light bulb goes off. What's happening in your life that is pre-warning you to something that is going to stop you from falling into the abyss. We had that Ten of Wands there and that weight of the world on that card. Where are you seeing the cracks? Nine of Wands. Now, Nine of Wands is a fire. Whatever this is, it's going to come in fast. When you're walking across ice and it cracks, not that I've ever done that, but, and that image is almost like, it's stabbing a pole into the ice and then this crack just goes right across. And every time, I've got a big world map in my house, and every time I walk past it, my eye is drawn to the state of Nevada. So whether that's of any significance, I'm not sure whether there's been many people over the last 10 years actually having dreams about a big earthquake in America, and quite a few of them have been having dreams about America literally being split in two. And whether that's an actual physical thing, being split in two by an earthquake. So whether that's a physical thing or whether that country is just coming in for a big shake-up. And the Hangman on the bottom. Now the Hangman is Neptune. Neptune for me is always what's hidden and lurking under the surface. So Neptune is the ocean. What's at the bottom of the ocean. And I said before, actually I think it was in that Mother Mary reading, and then we've got Eight of Cups, Exodus. Did we get? No, we didn't. The Ace of Wands, the wand on the Ace of Wands is actually Aaron's rod. Now Aaron's rod, Aaron was Moses's brother, and he was with Moses when he set the people free when they walked out of Egypt and across the Red Sea. And if you think, here's that wand and the people walking and the sea split in half. Sometimes the Hangman is, feeling stuck or taking the time to stop and think. Sometimes it is an epiphany, that intuitive nudge that you're getting that maybe it's time to go, or maybe it's time not to go where everybody else is. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. The King of Swords. So we've got the King and Queen of Swords, and we've got the Earthquake card, the Star, which is something that's destined, and two, we've got the Ace and the King of Swords on the Earthquake card and something that's destined. Kind of scary. And now we've got the Queen of Wands on top of the Ace of Cups and the King of Wands. And if you think of a sunflower, sunflower follows the sun. So it literally moves across the sky and follows the sun. What are all these people going to be doing on this day? Looking up, unaware of what's actually happening under the surface with this Fool card here. Two of Cups. Whatever this is, and whoever you are with, whoever they are with, whoever you're with, whoever they are with at the time they're meant to be with. Soulmate card is a destined connection. So it can be, pets, it can be friends, it can be family, it can be, a partner. Something that is meant to be experienced in this lifetime. If it's a collective of people going through, just say it is a natural disaster, a collective of people that are meant to experience this in this lifetime together. And we've got the King of Wands again, which means that what I was saying here before about, this little animal giving you signs, and my dog is asleep at my feet. Listen to the signs. Listen to those intuitive nudges that you have going on around you. Don't be that person that says, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Listen to your intuition. The Four of Swords on the bottom. Now, the Four of Swords is Jupiter in Libra. That's, that taking the time to listen. If something feels out of balance, find out why. What is it that you are picking up on? Okay, let's get some guidance cards from my Divine Messages deck. Struggling with personality patterns. Maybe not listening to the little nudges that you are getting. Expansion. And I just think earthquake with that. I'll go back to that earth pulsing card. Life path. Something that you are meant to go through in this lifetime. Part of lessons that you are learning. And that's a pretty tough lesson if that's something that you're meant to go through. Like I said, tough lesson, frustration there. Death and rebirth. If it doesn't serve you, cut it out. Meaning, follow your intuition. If it's not important, don't do it. And on the bottom, new beginnings, which is that Fool card. New beginnings. Okay, let's have a look at what angel is guiding. 66, Manakel, neurological disorders. Now, there are many people, and epilepsy and seizures actually came up in that Mother Mary reading. And we had the song in that reading, the one in the Avatar movie where she has a seizure. I think it's called From Darkness to Light. but they're all different types of seizures. Now, seizures are measured in the same way as earthquakes are measured. When you see that earthquake line going up and up and down, that is, and the reason I'm saying this is because I have somebody within my family that has seizures. And so seizures are measured the same way. You get that little line up and down, up and down. And interestingly, this morning, I did a reading on Joan of Arc and Moses. Now, both of those people were receiving visions. So some people have physical seizures where their muscles move, and that is the typical seizure that you see. But there are many, many people, there's many different types of seizures. There are many people in the world that have seizures that affect their vision and their speech. And there are medical practitioners who have actually gone back and studied people like Joan of Arc and suspect that she possibly had a neurological disorder which was causing her hallucinations. Now, in that reading, and I will say it again, those messages that are coming from God, that were coming from God to her, were in the form of visions. So she could quite possibly have been having some sort of epileptic or neurological episode, and it was just the vehicle in which God chose to give her those messages. And I think in the movie Exodus, Moses hit his head and then he was seeing, like I think that's when he saw the burning bush and stuff like that. Well, if you hit your head, you can have a seizure, and that's what you see. So perhaps all of these people that are having these visions of, America splitting in half are having them channeled through something within the vision in their brain, something to do with, and I think, the person in my life that has um, seizures often describes some of their seizures as feeling like there's an earthquake. And they don't have, physical shaking seizures. They have more visual and auditory seizures, but oftentimes, actually frequently, describes those particular episodes as feeling like there is an earthquake. 66, Manical neurological disorders. 58, mentality. Yalel. If somebody comes to you and says something, don't fob them off as, oh, they're not right in the head. Because sometimes they're picking up on things, a bit like animals. They're picking up on things because of the way they're genetically made up, the way their brain is. They're picking up on something under the surface that you're not quite getting. 29, Rael, liberation and defender of spiritual truth. That was Joan of Arc, and that was Moses too. I mean, Moses was the foundation of the Abrahamic faiths. If Moses didn't listen to those messages that he was receiving, if Joan of Arc didn't listen to those messages she was receiving, and number 39, Rahael, heals the sick. I'm going to do one more. 17, prophetic revelations in dreams and the lover of the arts. Dream messages. Like I said to you, those people are getting dream messages. Don't dismiss them, especially if you are picking up other signs. Number 25, spiritual wisdom and magic. because you might think it's just all a load of rubbish, but the cards are saying differently. Okay, let's have a look. This is... Actually, I don't think I want to use those. No, I don't want to use those. I'm just going to get some messages from my Scrabble tiles. Letters and numbers on there, and I will read them. Okay, it's probably too many, but that's what we're going to use. Okay, so T, and that was stood up like that. T and a 1. P and a 3. O and a 1. S and a 1. I and a 1. This may be the letters of, some states in America. A U and a 1. I'm not really familiar with, I've not been to America, so. V and a 4. F and a 4. A J and an 8. A Q and a 10. A D and a 2. A K and a 5. A W and a 4. An A and a 1. Beginning and the end. An X and an 8. That is that sign that is in that the path of, I think there's Arkansas there. H and a 4. A C and a 3. And an M and a 3. Now the M3 is the big highway here in my city. I'll let you put those initials or words together. So that's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will list those songs in the description box, maybe further messages in there. As I said, if you are interested in any of my decks, you can find the links to those in the description box. If you haven't already, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you again in another reading.